Hello and welcome to Old Lady Plays. I'm Kate, the Old Lady, and this is RAF Eagle, Luftschlacht um England, or the Battle of Britain. So let's get into it. We'll see how things look. Here's the board. I've already picked target cards, just because it saves a little bit of time in getting the game started. We're only going to play the first day here. Here we go. We've got these three set up for 8 o'clock. I'll show them to you now here. And then we've got 2 more set up for 10 o'clock. And finally, 2 set up for 1600. So, the reason that I've made these choices, let's go back to the 0800 ones. The reason I've made these choices is we're going to try a minor raid on Hornchurch airfield first, then we're going after Rye radar station, and then Forness radar station. And the reason we're doing it in this order is we're going to mount a minor raid on 611 just to see if we can draw off some of the fighters. Then we're going to mount an attack on Rye, which is over here in 711, again hoping to draw off more of the fighters, and then smash Forness with the third raid of the hour, and hopefully be able to get some damage through. 10 o'clock, similar sort of strategy. We're going to do Kenley first, and then Beachy Head, and then the other 2 raids are just kind of throwaways. We've got Southend and Portsmouth on the list of cities to be hit. You know, it's fine. We'll see how that goes. Now I have to assign bombers and fighters to the first raids anyway. The first 3 time segments, which is, 6, 8, and 10. So, yes, I will assign bombers and fighters to the first 5 raids. I'll be back in a moment with that. Okay, as you can see, I've loaded up the target cards with the bombers and fighters assigned to them, at least the fighters assigned to the first 3 time segments. We don't assign the fighters to the last 2 time segments until later in the day. So, first off, we're doing a fighter sweep over Hornchurch. 5 ME-109s will take the attack and we'll see what we can do. Then Rye will be hit by a force of bombers with a few 109s. And Forness will be hit by a force of bombers with 109s. There's some 110s in the attack on Kenley. And then we've got 4 more bombers going for Beachy Head. Some Stukas going after Southend, and eventually Portsmouth. I think it's Portsmouth. No, it's Weymouth. I can't read it from here. It's Weymouth is getting quite a pasting from a bunch of bombers. So that's how I've set it up. I'm hoping that this will be enough to draw out the British in the first couple of hours, clean things out a bit, and then reset for the later raids, which probably won't be as effective. One unfortunate thing here is that we drew 6 Luftwaffe 2 cards and 1 Luftwaffe 3 card, which means we've got a kind of a heavy balance towards using up the Luftwaffe 2 planes. Like, we've committed every fighter except the 110s, which aren't really all that useful as fighters. So, although they do make good close escorts, I wonder if I should assign a few of them. Maybe I will. Give me a minute. There we go. I've added some ME-110 support for close escort into a couple of places, just to give the bombers a little bit more protection. Let's get on with the first raid. Sequence of play says: target selection, German bomber assignment, German fighter assignment, night patrol assignment, repair, time of day, and weather forecast. That's what I need. So the time of day is 0800, as you can see. The weather forecast is patchy cloud in Luftwaffe 2 and broken cloud in Luftwaffe 3. Things are looking pretty good for the Germans here. Let's get on with it. Raid selection and deployment. Let's do that. Alright, there we go. The ME-109s from the first raid are lined up in the hunt box. Now we have to pick up the British for this. We need 3 squadrons from 611. 2 each from 5, 7, and London, 2 each from 211 and 311, and 1 from 411, giving us a total of 11 squadrons responding to the raid. Possibly. Now, we need to roll the detection value. Yes, the detection value. The roll is a 6. Which is good for the Germans, or good for the British, I mean. The observer value in Luftflotte 2 is 3, and plus 2, 4 for the radar nets is 7. All Gruppen are ME-109s, which means we get a -2. That brings us to 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. Also add 2 for 5 Gruppen, and we are at 13. So 13 is the detection. And we have early and poor. There we go. We are ready to roll. Let's get on with this. Raid rendezvous check. Number of... Oh, let's just roll this. 6 again. It is fails if 15 or more Gruppen are in the raid. There are not. The rendezvous has been made. And raid response. Alright, now we fill the raid pool. Sorry, I got that out of the order. Response priority chart to adjust the pool. Raid response priority chart. Squadrons in response pool 11. Raid response chart. Let's roll the die. 1. We're adding 1 for being an 11 group. Primary target is an airfield plus 2. -1 per additional card. So 2 more cards to be played. That's going to invalidate the 2 from radar net or airfield, which means it's going to be +1, which means we got 2, which means we have minimal response priority. 6 squadrons leave the pool, so I will pick 6 at random. This is me. I'm not looking at this. Four, 5, and 6. These 6 go back to their sectors. The other 5 respond. We have poor intelligence on a minor raid. Oh, hang on. Squadrons in pool 5, minor raid responding is only 2. So only 2 of these are actually going to respond to the raid. The other 3 will return to their sector as well. So I'm going to pick out 2 of these, and the other 3 will return to their sector. These 2 respond to the raid. Okay, so we've got the raid response all sorted out. Now we have... let's check that sequence of play again. Deploy responding squadrons. Hunter interception. Hunt box. Well, the hunters intercept. Raid approach event. Alright, we've drawn the event card 121. Target event E. Non-essential target. Reduce bomb damage result by 1. Damage does not affect industry, airfield, or radar targets. VPs count. Okay. So, that's important to remember. It won't make a difference on this one because there are no bombers, but it's important to remember. So, we have now a fight. Let's get on with the fight. Hunter attack. Alright, hunter attack. Let's see, we have Gruppen in combat 5. We have a strength of 7. 5 with 7 is on the B chart. That's not going to be very good for the British. There we go, we're on the 3 line of the B chart. That's, yes, the 3 line of the B chart. The Germans take a space DA, so B's are disrupted. And go to the in-flight box, disrupted. Go to the in-box flight full. A's or C's are aborted. And go to the in-flight box. Reduced. For the English, DHA. Oh, that's bad. This one is disrupted. This one goes to heavy loss, which means 2 victory points for the Germans. So let's get that sorted out. Victory points. Victory points -2. As the Germans make the first blood. I think that's pretty good. Sorry, one of those guys should have been in 511, not 311, because the 311 one is the guy who just took the heavy loss. So one squadron takes a heavy loss, and we have no effect on, obviously, the airfield because there was no bombing to take place. So let's move the Germans to the time track. Alright, there we go. The Germans have been moved to the day track, the time track I should say, so they'll be ready to return at 1400 and 1600. As you can see, that's going to give me time to get them back in time for the late raids, so that's helpful. Now we have the next raid. I believe we don't have a target event because there's no bombing. I guess we draw a raid target card just to get it out of the way, but as the approach event didn't earlier, I called it a target event, but it should have been the approach event. In any case, it didn't have any effect either, so there are more raids this segment, so we're going to carry on and do the next raid. Okay, for our attack on Rye, we have three Heinkel 111s, a 110 in the closed escort box, a 109 in the channel patrol box because we're required to, and 2 more 109s in the hunt box. So now we take the Rye card, do the rendezvous check. First, the detection check first. We get the observer core, which is 1, plus 6 for the radar nets is 7, plus 3 for 7 Gruppen in the raid, which makes it 10. 10 plus 6 is 16. Very early, but limited. Rendezvous check. 2. Well, let's check it. Failure occurs if 3 raids were planned for the current time segment, which is exactly what happened. If failure occurs, roll again. Second die roll. Six. C Gruppen leave raid. Oh my. The C Gruppen have left the raid. That's going to make things very difficult for the Germans. Unfortunately, and this was supposed to be a good attack. But again, this one will be a draw off. We want Forness is the real target here. So let's see what we've got. We get 3 respondents from 711, 2 each from 211 and 611, and 1 each from 111 and 511. There's our raid response pool. It's got 8 in it. Let's see what we get out of this. Okay, number of squadrons in response pool, 8. Roll the die. 5. Target sector is an 11 group, +1. Primary target is a radar net, +2. That's 3, 8. Target is deep, no. Warning is very early, +1, 9. Intelligence is limited or accurate, and raid has 6 to 8 Gruppen, +1, 10. Intelligence is poor and raid is major, no. Target cards yet to be resolved in the same time segment, -1 per additional card. There's one more card, so that's -1 gives us a 9. 9 gives us a high response, and out of 8, 5 will respond. Then we check the limited intelligence. All respond. Okay, so we take out 3 of these at random. I'll do that now. And the other 5 will respond. This is going to be a bad raid for the Germans. Okay. There are more Gruppen, or more squadrons than Gruppen, so... Right, the procedure is to roll a die. If it's less than the number of excess squadrons, then the excess squadrons can go down to the bomber box. Otherwise, they stay put. Three is definitely less than 4, so they're all going to stay put. And we'll do the combat. But first, we need an approach event. And the approach event says, as you can see, Eagle. LF2 area weather improves. Broken clouds become patchy. Patchy clouds become clear. Patchy clouds become clear. We have 1 Gruppe in combat. And a total strength of 18. So on the 1 line, down to 18 is going to be on the eye chart. That's not good. For the Germans, that's very, very bad. 5 is almost as bad as it gets, HHL. And that's a heavy loss for the Germans, which is going to wipe out that victory point gain they made. Also, disrupt the A's. So, of the disrupted ones, 1 went to the in-flight box full, and the other went reduced to the bomber box, and now we attack the bombers. So, let me just check if when I take the target event right now. Target event. Channel patrollers, close escort. We have no channel patrollers. So it's time for the combat, I believe. Right, target event, squadron, interception, squadron, attack. We have a total of 26 combat strength in the box with 3 Gruppen. 3 Gruppen, 26. H chart. Again, very bad for the Germans. 4. H chart, ALH for the Germans. And with that light loss, the Germans are actually down 1 victory point. Now, what happens to the British on that roll of 4? DD for the B and C. So basically no effect. Units in bomber box, full squadron, disrupted to in-flight reduced, I should say. And that's going to do it for that part of the raid. I think we're going to pause here while I get some stuff done, and then we'll be back with the next raid. Hello there, sorry about the break there, and the change in camera and map lighting and everything. I had a meeting that I had to go to, and so I had to stop, and it's much later in the afternoon, and the light has changed, so we're under artificial lighting now, and I've got my camera back, but I don't have it in exactly the same angle as I did before. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can still see the bits that we need to see, which is basically just the boxes over here on the left that I'm showing you now, which is why I'm continuing to show the map zoomed out, because basically the only real information you get from just looking at the map is to see what sections of the British defences are cleaned out, such as at the moment 611 and 711, as I've just indicated. That being the case, I figure we might as well carry on going with things the way they are. I'll probably cut all this out, so never mind. And let's go. We are at the beginning of the raid phase. So let's go, raid selection and deployment. Okay, so we have what we might call here a rookie mistake. I committed 4 bomber Gruppen to this raid, and then I committed 3 BF-109s to this raid, which I have occasionally and will interchangeably call ME-109s, but they're still 109s one way or the other. They're still 109s, and they're still going to be deadly, so it's still a good thing. You know, because I'm playing the Germans this time and not, you know, well, anyway. I gotta cut a whole bunch of this. As you can see, 2 of my BF-109s have been called away to channel patrol, and that is frustrating because I forgot that it's the number of bombers on the mission that matters, not the number of fighters. So the number of bombers on the mission requires that we have 2 on channel patrol, so 2 go on channel patrol, and we only have 1 on the actual thing. Now, the good news is the immediate response area is a little bit cleaned out. So the immediate response pool is 3 from 611, where there is nobody. You can see that here. 2 from 511 and 711. I'll indicate where these 2 are. And as you can see, only 511 has anything, so we'll grab those 2 squadrons. And 1 squadron each from 211 and 411. That gives us our squadron response pool, and this has meant that pretty much what I was hoping for had happened, in the sense that only 4 squadrons are available to respond at all. I've gone and selected them even though I haven't done the detection. I've done that out of order. Detection should have come first. Let's roll the detection number. 5. The roll is 5, which we will then modify right. It's clear weather, so it's +1 for the observer, +4 for the 2 radar nets, that's 5, and 3 more from the number of Gruppen in the raid, which is 7. So 5 plus 7 is 12. Yes, it is. 5 plus 7 is 12. That gives us sufficient and limited. Let's ring up the changes on the old intelligence and warning board. There we go. So incoming raid to Forness. Let's see what happens. Now we need, after the raid detection, we need the rendezvous table. So the first die roll is... That's not good for the Germans, a 1. Failure occurs if this raid is one of 2 or 3 raids from the same Luftflotte planned for the current time segment, including raids already resolved. It is. It, in fact, is. That means if failure occurs, roll again. We have a second die roll. Three this time. C Gruppen are reduced. Well, that didn't hurt too badly. We lost 1 bomber Gruppe reduced and 1 fighter Gruppe reduced. Unfortunately, the one that was reduced was the one that is in the hunt box. The 2 in the channel patrol are fine. So, unfortunate for the Germans. Let's see what the response looks like. We have sufficient but limited time. Target sector is in 11 group, +1. Primary target is a radar net, +2, that's +3. Target is deep, no. Warning is very early, no. Intelligence is accurate, no. Intelligence is limited, and raid has 6 to 8 Gruppen, that's +1. That's +4 in total. Intelligence is poor, no. And target cards yet to be resolved, none. So we have a +4 in total. We'll make the roll. One, meaning one squadron goes home out of the 4. No, that's not right. Yes, three squadrons go home out of the 4. So I will take 1 and put it in the hunt box, and the other 3 will go home. So back to their stations go the 2 flights from 511 and 1 from 411. Meantime, the flight from, I think it's 211, yes, carries on to the target. My mistake, I should have finished looking at all the charts. After the raid response priority chart took away 3 of the squadrons, I should have checked the limited intelligence chart, which says number of Gruppen in raid, excluding channel patrol, is 4 to 6. That's what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's right. And with only 1 squadron in the pool anymore, that means that the squadron will not respond. So no squadrons will respond to this raid. So it's going to be a bad one for the British for the radar net. Let's see what happens now. Hunter interception, there is none. Raid approach event, we'll get that. Approach event, German altitude advantage. If any of the following apply, no warning, a reduced squadron in hunt box, or prior to August 20th. Well, the latter is true, but the altitude advantage is wasted in this particular respect because there's not going to be any combat. Hunter attack. There's nothing happening. Raid target event. Target event E2 flak. Reduce all C Gruppen in the bomber box. Hold on a moment. If a Gruppe hit by flak is already reduced, it immediately aborts. Move it to the in-flight box. So that is what we will do. We will move it to the in-flight box. It went to the in-flight box. You may or may not have heard me making a vrooming noise while it happened. Depends on whether I leave it in or not, and whether the microphone picked it up. Anyway, I didn't sound anything like a bomber in any case, so it's not really a big deal. It's really kind of silly, and I won't bring it up again. Anyway, it's time to do the raid bombing step. Right? Target event, squadron interception, there is none. Squadron attack, there is none. Bombardment. Okay, the bombing strength is 5 3 times, which gives me 15. No bombers were intercepted, so we're going to shift 2 columns to the right. That's the 21 to 24 column. If there's patchy clouds, there are not. If broken clouds, there are not. Two points. Bomb damage summary. Radar and HQs. 1 or 2 points. Place a light damage marker. Well, I don't have one handy, but this is... actually, I'll find one. Hold on a second. Alright, there's a light damage marker on Forness radio station. Radio station Forness. It's 108 Forness. Anyway, that was random. In fact, I meant radar station. We get 2 victory points for our troubles. So let's see about fixing that particular piece of work. We can just go like that, and it will look appropriate. That raid is then over, so we'll go to no raid. Oh, no, we'll go to no raid by turning, there we go, no raid. And that will do it for the 8 o'clock hour. We will do the 10 o'clock hour next, and it's probably going to be a second video, but if it's a second video, then I will leave you here. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching the episode. I do appreciate your time. I hope that you have a great day, and take care.